Hey guys, what is going on? Tenebris here. Welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about how Mojang, or Microsoft of course, as the developers of Minecraft, could help fight cheaters and closet cheaters on Minecraft servers. Now they can do this in various different ways. One of them is to change the protocol that Minecraft uses to make it better. And another way is to kind of prevent alt shops and hacked clients with a roundabout method such as suing them or by, adding a two-factor authentication system to the launcher. And in terms of that suggestion, I'd like to thank 2Pi for, kind of bringing that up because I wasn't actually aware of it until I saw his video. So links to his video will be in the description for that particular suggestion. But anyway, yeah, so I'm going to be just kind of talking about briefly how Mojang could help fight cheaters. So yeah, let's get right into it, guys. So in a previous video about knockback friction, I went into extreme depth about how velocity works, as in the server sends the client a velocity packet, the client then responds to the server by sending back a position packet updating their velocity. Now, I also talked about how your movement will affect your velocity because it's using the same packet to move around as it is the velocity. Now, this is pretty interesting in terms of how it affects the friction, as in how much knockback you take in terms of your velocity depending on your direction. However, this becomes a detriment to any sort of cheat detection system trying to detect a velocity modifier. And this is because a velocity modifier is basically modifying the position packet output to the server, which basically prevents the server from distinctly designating between the velocity packet, which the player is supposed to be taking, and their own movement. Which makes the process of detecting a velocity modifier very difficult because you cannot tell whether or not it is the legitimate player moving or the server. And this is compounded by the fact that Minecraft runs on a 20-tick system. I'll talk a little bit more about this later, but this is compounded by the fact that Minecraft runs on a 20-tick system and movement is actually very unpredictable. So it's difficult to create an algorithm that could detect very subtle changes of movement or the prediction of the movement because we don't have a small enough sample. Like, for example, the tick size is too big for us to fully predict all the possible moves that someone could do. But yeah, so how could Mojang fix this problem? Well, the simplest and most straightforward way they could fix it is by adding a separate packet for velocity, so that way servers are able to tell if any modification of their velocity is taking place. Now, this can just easily be done by adding a packet play in velocity as opposed to the packet play in position, so the servers can distinguish between players moving and their normal velocity they're taking by the server. Now, you could also do this, theoretically, with a client-sided anti-cheat. You could implement this packet in the client-side anti-cheat and then implement it on the server side, and you would basically have the same exact effect. So yes, it is possible to do it without Mojang's help, but it would be better if every person playing Minecraft had this effect and not just the people using these specific clients. Anyway, now that we've gone over the first way that Mojang could help fight closet cheaters, let's get to the next one. So the second suggestion is also a packet modification, which would help servers fight cheaters. Now, once again, this can be done by a client-side anti-cheat or a mod even, or Mojang themselves. But of course, as I said previously, it is preferable if Mojang does it themselves. But this change would basically prevent most reach modification. Yes, there would be a way to spoof it. Okay, I understand that. None of this is completely foolproof. However, it would prevent a lot of the random skids who don't know how to code from, developing hacked clients which are being sold and used on servers and then are bypassing servers. And that's to send the raw reach value in a separate packet every time someone attacks to the server. Now, you would basically, you know how reach display mod works. For example, it would just display the attacked range, right, on the top right. If you send that value to the server and, make sure that they're not lagging and stuff, then you could basically detect any level of reach. Now, currently, it's a bit difficult to detect very low levels of reach in Minecraft. Below around 3.2 or so, it becomes very difficult with movement because the movement is actually, as I said previously, relatively unpredictable, and it's difficult to really tell when that hit actually landed because of movement and latency. So if Mojang or a client-side anti-cheat ends up adding a packet which will, directly send the reach value of the client to the server, the server could prevent or, have a detection system for most people who are using reach modifications. And yes, of course, there would be a way to spoof that packet. Yes, but then you could just add another one, and then it goes in an infinite loop, and it becomes cat and mouse, as we always see with these types of things. But yeah, anyway, let's get to the next one. So this next method of how Mojang could help fight cheaters is the final of the 3 packet methods, which I'm going to be discussing today before getting on to more different things later in the video. Now, this method is basically for the client to send the raw mouse input to the server. Now, as it currently stands, the server cannot see the raw mouse input of the client. It can only see the arm animations, which is basically the swing packet, or the right-click packet, which would be block place, or it could also see the yaw and pitch, which is the up and down, or up and down and left and right movement, yaw or pitch and yaw respectively for the client. They can't actually see whether or not you're moving your mouse or not. See, a hacked client, could just spoof that by saying, oh, well, I'm sending a yaw packet to look at the player, but even though the person's mouse is not actually moving. And of course, yes, there's ways that a client could end up spoofing the fake mouse input themselves, but it would, as I've said previously, stop a lot of the skids who don't really know what they're doing and, somewhat prevent cheating a little bit more than they're currently able to do. Another thing that this could be used for, raw mouse input, is to detect auto-clickers, because a decent amount of auto-clickers currently do use the correct mouse input, but a lot of them don't. They don't actually click your mouse for you, and if they add a packet, which basically makes it so the server can see whether or not you're actually clicking your mouse and you're swinging, and if you're not clicking your mouse and swinging, then they can see that you're using an auto-clicker. It's pretty simple. So yeah, I really, as I said previously, this can also be implemented by a client-side anti-cheat or Mojang, but I really suggest Mojang to look into this type of stuff and maybe implement it, as well as the combat system, of course, that has to be updated. Anyway, yeah, so now that I've gone over the packet methods, let's go into some of the other methods that Mojang could do to prevent cheaters. So now that we've gone over all the different ways Mojang could change the packets to help, we're now going to be talking about different other ways that Mojang could help fight cheaters. Now, the first way, and this is probably going to be one of the most difficult suggestions for them to change or implement, is to change the tick rate of Minecraft. Now, there's a crap ton of things in this game that runs on the 20 tick rate. There's a few things that don't, but most things do run on the 20 tick system. And that's actually pretty bad for anyone trying to detect a pattern in an auto clicker, for example, because the sample size is the sample size is way too small for them to accurately detect certain randomization in auto clickers. Now, if they upped the tick rate to, for example, 60 or 70, they could detect basically any auto clicker any auto clicker that's around right now, at least. Now, in the future, there probably will be ones that will bypass that. However, right now, most auto clickers would still be would definitely be detected if they upped the tick rate from 20 to 60. And there's also lots of issues that will come with that, such as a lot of other things that will run on the 20 tick system, which they need to fix. That's why it's probably one of the most difficult suggestions for them to implement, but this is something that they should definitely think about doing. I mean, Badlion Premium did it, so Mojang could probably do it as well. Anyway, let's get into the next one. The fifth way that Mojang could prevent cheaters would be to implement safeguards to prevent cheating and accounts being stolen. Now, this is TuPai's suggestion. This is to add a two-factor authentication system to the launcher. Now, there's several apps you can get on the App Store if you have an iPhone or whatever Android uses, which create a QR code which you can then scan on your phone to generate a code, which then you input to the site or whatever you're using in order to log into your account. It's basically another layer of password that is two-factor, as in it uses two different inputs. Like you have to have your phone, and you also have to put in your real password on your computer. I'm not really sure about the exact specifics of how this works. I'm not an expert. I'm not claiming to be an expert. All I know is that it's much, much, much more secure to have a two-factor authentication on your account than just having a password, because of course it requires these two factors of verification that it's actually you. Now, if Mojang does implement this to the Minecraft launcher, it will prevent a lot of these accounts from being stolen and used by hackers as most of you guys know, all of these hackers, they don't use their own accounts. They use stolen accounts, which are bought from these alt shops. Now, the alt shops are going to try to tell you that, their accounts aren't stolen or whatever, which is completely false. So the accounts aren't used, which is just the most ridiculous thing ever, considering the fact that no matter if the accounts are used or not, you're still stealing something that someone bought. So it doesn't matter whether or not the accounts are used. So, I mean, it doesn't make any sense. But anyway, if they do implement this, it would prevent a lot of the random blatant cheaters from, just like running around, buying a new account every time they get banned, and then keep bypassing the server with the VPNs. But anyway, yeah, let's get to the next method of how Mojang could prevent cheaters. Alright, so these next two methods are kind of in tandem with each other. They're pretty similar. Now, the first one is Mojang actually proactively suing alt shops, because Mojang, as you guys probably know, as there's so many different alt shops out there, has a very lazy attitude towards people reselling their products for some reason. Now, I'm not sure why this is, but honestly, it would be a lot better if they could just shut down all alt shops, or make it very difficult for alt shops to, get up and going. And in my opinion, that would prevent a lot of these blatant cheaters from, running around, buying a new account, etc., etc. Another thing that they could do is they could actually sue hacked clients, but there is a major problem with this, and that's the distinction between modding and hacks. Now, of course, I've heard people say that, Fortnite, they can, ban hackers, but they allow modding or whatnot. And if Mojang, really wanted to, compete again with Fortnite and these big games that are coming up, such as Fortnite, they could, make a system where if the server does not want people modding their game, it would prevent them from modding their game. But people can still play modded if they allow it on the server side to allow modding, which basically makes it very free for people to customize exactly how they want to play the game. Anyways, guys, hope everyone enjoyed. I know this was a bit of a long video, but hope everyone enjoyed. If you made it so far, leave a like on the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.